Additional offer with stronger draft capital from a team with an established starter, per source, but chose to send Fields to Pittsburgh with the hopes of putting the 25-year-old in a position to continue his development, first as a backup to Wilson and eventually as a starter. Your reaction, bro?
Well, what was better? 5th round, 6th round that's not conditional where it could get better? Like straight 6th round pick? I mean, if it was that close, then I think they did the right thing because you send a message to players, or at least you theoretically do, that, hey, we care about our players and their future. Because there's already the feeling that you did not do right by Justin Fields because you didn't put players around him that could help him win. And he had 2 head coaches, 2 offensive coordinators. So you may not have given him a chance in some people's eyes. So now you do this. Hey, we're looking out for him. If it significantly was better, which I doubt, but let's say somebody's offering a 3rd round pick, then you got to do it.
Correct.
You got to do what's best for your team, regardless.
So I agree with that. So this is the scenario I painted to you before the show, Wilds, because what they got was a 6th in a not this year's draft, next year's draft. That could be a 4,
right,
if he plays more than half the games. Let's say Buffalo called, because we know Buffalo wanted a backup quarterback because they signed Mitch Trubisky inexplicably to more than the league minimum. But set that aside. Say Buffalo called and said, we'll give you our 5th round pick this year for Justin Fields. I don't think it's bad business for Chicago to say, yeah, we're not doing it. The gap between the value on those is not enough, given the fact he is clearly very popular in the locker room. And I understand it's business, not personal. When people talk about the Bears doing Justin Fields wrong, sometimes that stuff bothers me. In this specific case, and I thought Danny, when he was on Friday, made a good point. When you look at the blow-by-blow of it, year 1, Justin, you're not going to play. Andy Dalton is. Andy Dalton gets dinged. He's all of a sudden starting week 3. Year 2, we want to be the worst team in the league. We're going to trade Roquan Smith. We're going to take all our dead cap right now, which I thought was the long-term smart thing for the team. Brutal for the player, right? And then year 3, all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we're kind of ready to be good, but we're also changing the offense on the fly. Those things, I understand why they would be like, you know what? He handled himself, aside from one press conference, right? His teammates like him. Let's not send him somewhere where he has no chance of being the starter unless, like to Bruce's point, the return is so good, we have to put business ahead of it. And so this part makes sense to me in a way that I know there had been some reporting like, oh, they had a 2 or a 3 offered to them. If they did, they turned that down back when they thought they were still going to be able to get that. Not because they didn't have
that wasn't available now.
Exactly right. That offer was gone when they took this one and not presented like, well, they could have taken a 3 this week and instead they took this. That I do not believe at all.
Okay. Meanwhile, Caleb to the Bears, basically done. Now minus 4,000 to be in Chicago. Other new faces in the Windy City, Keenan Allen and DeAndre Swift. Nick, does Caleb make the Bears a dark horse playoff team?
No question, yes. But let me first say this real quick. I'm not a professional investment broker, and I don't give investment advice. But minus 4,000 would mean you get 2.5% return on your money in 6 weeks. That's better than any stock you're going to get, America, if you can put that. Because it is a 100% chance he is drafted by the Chicago Bears, number 1. And so minus 4,000, you bet 4,000, make $100. Can't do that guaranteed in the market. But now to the point. The Bears are better than people think, and they were last year. And they have since added things. So the Bears, Eberflus would tell you his defense can't function unless it has at least one A-level pass rusher to then have everything rotate off the back end of it. So how did the Bears look once they added Montez Sweat, that's not adding prime Von Miller, but it's adding a good player. All of a sudden, they were fine. It's not like they were great. They were fine. They outscored their opponents. They had top 10 points per game and opponents' yards per game defense. They have now added to DJ Moore, who with quarterbacking that evidently was only worth a 6th round pick, did this last year. Keenan Allen, and Keenan did that in only 13 games. Now I think Keenan is going to be less productive because of his age, but you then add the fact that in addition to Caleb Brew, they are going to, with the 9th pick of the draft, either be able to add Rome Odunze, Brock Bowers, with the 2nd tackle off the board, or the 1st or 2nd defensive player of any position off the board.
Very good.
And they added Swift. So I expect the 7-10 Bears, with better quarterbacking, more talent, not the dead cap that had been weighing down the last 2 years, to be a 10 or 11 win team.
Ooh.
So I expect them to make the playoffs.
All right, so you came on strong at the end saying they're going to make the playoffs because this question, I think Nick hacked your computer.
Why?
And threw Dark Horse in there.
Oh, no,
because
it's not Dark
when we
Horse.
talked about it on the phone call
Straight
this
up.
morning, it was are they making the
I
playoffs?
will pick them to make the playoffs as of now.
So there,
yes,
because
it's not
they're
Dark
a
Horse.
dark horse.
I don't believe in Dark Horse nonsense.
In the
like
hunt, will
yeah.
they be?
No, I'm not in Dark
right,
Horse
James.
MVP.
Are they making the playoffs?
Yeah, they'll be
Yes.
in the hunt. But
Sure.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think Detroit and Green Bay are definitely making the playoffs. So that's two in that division.
They're in.
So I think you like those teams too. If I remember Nick's tiers, I think both of them were pretty high.
Tiers, yeah, but the Bears, I think the Bears were the Bears were quite high as well.
They were high.
So
Bears,
if we're going to have three, I don't think you're saying three from that division, but I still think Dallas and Philly. I know I don't have like a strange team in here, but Atlanta I got. And then San Francisco and the Rams.
So you have the same playoffs as last year with Baker out and the Falcons in. That's not going to happen.
Well,
it's just not going to be the same.
We will see.
I mean, but that's it's just not.
You yelled at me when I didn't think Bijan Robinson would be Rookie of the Year.
Okay, all right.
So, I mean, I'm just saying.
And so I just think that let me put it a different way, Brew. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just saying. Which one's not making it? Detroit or Green Bay?
well,
they could have three because the NFC's kind of weak. But I think those two are definitely.
I almost think you're looking at it from the wrong direction, which is aside from the NFC South, which we think, you know what I mean, could have a division, right?
But Atlanta and Tampa could.
Let me ask it a different way. Let's just say Atlanta's in. If another NFC team that missed the playoffs last year is going to make it, which most years there's at least two new per conference, are the Bears not the best bet? The options would be Washington or the Giants, the Bears, and the fourth NFC North team. The Vikings.
The
Vikings, who don't have a quarterback right now. We said the NFC South. We said New Orleans, Carolina, Atlanta, and then Seattle or Arizona. Like some people might say Seattle. They got a new head coach. If you think there's going to be a bounce back year from Kyler, I get it. My point is, I think the Bears are the best bet.
Dark horse is the right word.
No, they're okay.
Dark horses. Because I don't think Caleb's going to be C.J. Stroud. Now, I think Caleb will be good eventually, but I think this year he'll show promise. He'll make us say, yeah, that was the right pick. But I don't think he's coming in like C.J.
But C.J., I think even if you're right on that, C.J. had to be C.J. because that Texans team earned the number 2 pick on their own volition. Yeah. That Texans team was awful the year before. They were a 3-win team.
No, I get it, but you're saying because they were bad, he had to be so good.
No, I'm giving C.J. credit. My point is, if the Bears were the typical number 1 pick team, we would expect usually about a 3-win improvement if they draft the right quarterback. My point is a 3-win improvement for the Bears is 10 because they won 7 games last year.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
Thank you.
I might buy that.
So really?
I might buy it. It was a good argument.
Who'd you pick to win the NFC
It's a good
last
team.
year?
Oh, my gosh, Brew. Who'd you pick to win the NFC last year?
And they made the playoffs, the Eagles.
Short of the turnovers, we were heading in the right
Kirk
direction.
Cousins' body betrayed him.
Yeah,
everyone knows
him.
this.
And he's back.
Much
Kyrie,
like mine, evidently.
most skilled player ever, according to Dame Lillard. Next on FS1 and the Fox Sports Channel on SiriusXM. I think he was